guys, what up? You on the mic with Mike. We got a lot to talk about today. We got a whole bunch to unpack, all right? I'm going to try to keep this as short and sweet as possible, but while doing so, we just got to let our minds soak up what's happened today. All right, so I don't usually do podcasts on a Sunday. It's Sunday and I'm dropping this. But I had to do it, man. I woke up this morning to like a whirlwind of information about what's going on in the NBA.
Back to our breaking news here on SportsCenter. Massive trade happening in the NBA right now. The Dallas Mavericks are trading Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. It's a 3-team deal that includes Utah, according to our Shams Charania.
All right, so apparently Luka was traded for AD. And there are a whole bunch of people asking me whether or not this can work, blah, yada, yada. I want to give you the details on, like, what the trade was. So I'm going to just go ahead and, like, list that in a little stat sheet right here. But the highlights of the deal are AD versus Luka Doncic. And with that being said, a lot of people ask me whether or not I think this was a good trade, whether I think it was a bad trade. A lot of people are very, very mad. Other people are very, very happy. And, you know, I get both sides. I understand I understand everybody's perspective, but I do think some people are freaking out a little bit too early. The reason why I say so is this. Most of the response that I've gotten right now is that the Dallas Mavericks have made a huge mistake trading for AD and letting Luka go. Which I can understand why people feel that way, but I think if you dig into it a little deeper, you'll understand why Dallas made the move. But a lot of people are upset at the fact that, you know, Dallas made the move. Okay, I get that. A lot of people are also upset that the Lakers traded away who they thought was LeBron's good running mate to get someone who they don't know if he'll work with LeBron. He's ball dominant, so it's like, how's that going to work? Him and LeBron on the same team. But I guess the bigger question is whether or not AD is going to fit in with Dallas, and why would Dallas go ahead and make such a move, which I know a lot of people don't understand. Let's just get right into it. All right, so if you look at what happened in the playoffs last year, or actually in the finals last year, Dallas went on an amazing run to get there. That run was highlighted by some great defense. When they got to the finals, they ran into a problem. They weren't good enough on defense, and then there was one person in particular who was getting burnt.
What a season he's had. Brown goes inside!
Partially double team, unexpectedly, because that's when Boston's so dangerous.
Brown on the steal and slam! Doncic double stolen by White. White, right with Jones, lays. JJ, what was the key as they go down low to Holiday? He lifts it up and in. Right to Brown. Jaylen Brown goes right past Doncic and the slam.
It was Luka. I'm sorry to say it, but I hate to put him out there. But he had trouble playing, keeping up with Jaylen Brown. He also had trouble keeping up with Jason Tatum. They were literally on purpose setting up pick and rolls or setting up picks to get Dallas to make the switch happen, so that they can get Luka on one of these two, and once they did, they attacked Luka, and they won every single time. Now, Luka did have offensive games where he played amazing. He had a couple not so good. Some games where he played amazing on offense, and I'm going to give him that. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he played poorly on defense, and Boston exploited that. So if you look at it from an organizational standpoint, right, you pair that with Luka's conditioning issues, the fact that he's only played 22 games this year, and while he is a generational talent, it's not like you really let him go for nothing. You know, you got back Anthony Davis in return. And some people can argue whether or not Anthony Davis is a good player. If you say he's not, really, the joke's on you. Anthony Davis is a great basketball player. I won't say he's Luka offensively. He's definitely not that. But what he brings to the table is defense, something that Luka doesn't. Anthony Davis is a great defensive player. Not even that. He plays above the rim. Where Luka can dunk on people, he's not really an above the rim basketball player. He's not really a threat to catch alley-oops and stuff like that. And he's not really a threat to block anybody. Defensively, he's a non-factor. Let's just put it that way. Does he get a lot of steals? Yeah, that's because he plays off the ball defense. You know what I mean? But he's not going to stop anybody face to face, and that's the problem. So what Dallas tried to do or is trying to do is bolster their defense because that's where they got beat in Boston. So I do understand the move for Dallas. You get rid of somebody who's not good defensively, who's a generational talent, to bring in a championship player, someone who's won a ring on another basketball team as the second best player on that team. And you're bringing him to Dallas to do the same thing here because you can technically have Kyrie lead the team offensively. Another champion. So I don't think this was a bad move for Dallas. If you ask me whether or not I would have made that trade, I probably wouldn't have. You know, like Luka's young; he's 25 years old. You know, I think his best basketball is still ahead of him. While I do think AD's best basketball is behind him, but I do understand the trade if you're trying to win now. If you're Dallas, if you're trying to win right now, you need someone who can play defense right now. You don't have time to wait for Luka to grow into that. And with the Lakers, it's not really about them winning championships right now. You get me? I just got a Google notification. I honestly thought it was going to be about Jimmy getting traded. Speaking of which, isn't it amazing how Dallas and LA were able to pull off this trade all low key? Meanwhile, Jimmy Butler's still a member of the Miami Heat. He's often like somewhere doing whatever God knows what.
Why are you running?
Not playing any basketball. You know, I'm sure he's playing basketball like pickup games or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you're on contract to play basketball for the Miami Heat and you're just sitting somewhere. I don't know, man. Like, this whole situation's got me sour, so let's not even get into it. I'm waiting for the Jimmy Butler trade ball to drop, and then when it does, I'm going to drop an episode about that. But for right now, we're not going to discuss the Jimmy Butler situation. Let's stick to the topics. So I do think Dallas made a good move to win right now, where I do think also the Lakers made a move more for the future. You know what I mean? Let's face facts. The Lakers weren't going to win a championship this year. You know, like they got the championship in 2020. Ever since then, it hasn't really looked like championship basketball coming from that organization. So this wasn't a win now move for them. This was a let's build around Luka for the future. Now, what I do think is going to happen is the organization is going to use this opportunity for LeBron to mentor Luka into being the basketball player that they need in the future. Because while the Lakers can win now with him, if they make a couple of moves, the way the roster is structured right now, I don't see it happening. They need a big man, a viable big man. They also need some defense. And their starting lineup is just not it right now. You know what I mean? Well, it's still going to be exciting to watch them play. There'll still be showtime. It's still Luka and LeBron. You know, you got Rui Hachimura, and I don't even know who their center is going to be. And I don't know who their point guard is. Like, it's probably going to be Gabe Vincent. I got to look up their roster real quick. Hold on. Let's pause for a second. As the lineup stands, Jackson Hayes is their starting center. LeBron James is their starting power forward. Rui Hachimura is their starting small forward. Dalton Knecht is their starting shooting guard. And Austin Reeves is their starting point guard. Which, what I'm assuming is going to happen is they're going to bring in Luka to start at the point, and they're going to move Austin up to the 2 guard and put Knecht back to his bench position, or put him coming back off the bench. They added Markieff Morris and somebody else to that roster besides Luka. I can't remember who at the moment, but yeah, Luka's injured right now too, so he won't even be playing yet. Yeah, this is not a win now move for the Lakers. The Lakers actually did this for the future. But keeping in mind they still want to be Showtime. So when Luka does get back on the court, seeing him next to LeBron is going to be pretty exciting. Also, LeBron helped mentoring Luka and channel him in the right direction basketball wise. That can't be a bad move for them either. So we're going to take that as a win-win for that organization in the long run, while Dallas is trying to win now. That's the only thing. That's how I see it playing out for both teams, and that's why I think this was a good trade for both teams. If you look at what both teams are trying to accomplish, Dallas last year against the Celtics, they were out rebounded, and then also defensively, they just couldn't stop the Celtics from getting whatever they wanted. Once the Celtics found that weak link that they can exploit. And then if you mention also, Kyrie Irving's also in their backcourt, which while he's not a bad defender, his size also makes him somewhat exploitable. So having both of those guys in your backcourt, I mean, that really hurts you defensively. So if you can minimize that damage by just having one of them, it's kind of a no-brainer, you know. And then you got to think, okay, who are you gonna pick between Kyrie and Luka? It's a tough choice. I know most people would probably go with Luka because, like I said, his best basketball is still in front of him. But if you're trying to win right now, you're probably gonna go with someone who's done it already. You know, someone who still can play at that level, who's been proven, who's hit big shots in big. You're gonna go with someone who's done it already. Kyrie, you know, like he's done it against Steph, against the Golden State Warriors in their heyday. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm probably gonna pick Kyrie in that equation all day. I'm just gonna get him a big man who I think can run with him, someone who's not ball dominant, someone who can play off the ball, who's gonna defend. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And then also, AD's gripe in LA was he didn't want to play the four, and LA wasn't really trying to move him down to the four, so like that they can find another, try to bring another big man in. When he was working at the big, when them using him as a five was working for them, so it just made sense. We'll send you to Dallas, where Dallas you can play the four. They have Gafford and Lively still, both guys who are running the five legitimately. So it's a no-brainer. If you're AD, once you get over the initial shock of it all, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna realize, okay, you know what? I'm playing the four where I want to play. I still got a dominant point guard, and I've got some other defenders behind me, so I don't have to go all the way out on defense while I'm still gonna try to play stellar defense. You know what I mean? And AD can cover, like, I'm gonna say 2 through 5. So that'll be a pretty good transition for him once he gets used to it. And I think it's going to be a good look for Dallas for the next couple of years, while their guys are still young and healthy. Well, not even young, so to speak, while the guys are still healthy, because AD and Kyrie both got some years on them. So we'll see how this plays out in the long run. But for right now, I think this is a good move for them. While in the long run, I think this is going to be a good move for LA. But we're going to cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now, it's still up in the air, trying to see it. It's just still brand new to everybody, including you and I. So we're all speculating at this point, including myself. Nobody knows how this is going to work. But if you ask my opinion, this is what I think is going to happen. Also, I'm waiting for this Jimmy Butler thing to pop. I can't believe the Lakers and Dallas made this whole thing happen before we can get Jimmy off the roster. I'm so perturbed by this, but whatever. Guys, thank you. Like, subscribe. We'll have another episode for you soon. As a matter of fact, probably Tuesday, because, it's what we do. Peace.